Ladies and gentlemen, this Christmas 2024, I have a Christmas gift for the Oasis fan community. A never-before-heard story to go along with a set of never-before-seen photographs from behind the scenes on the Oasis American tours of 1994 and 1995, as well as a particularly interesting small set of photographs from 1991 when Noel Gallagher was in America as a roadie for the Inspiral Carpets. A few months back, I got an email from an American lady with a story to tell. But her condition for sharing her story was that she wanted to remain anonymous. She told me that amongst other really rare and interesting Oasis memorabilia, she had never before seen photographs of Oasis backstage at the Hollywood Palace in their 1995 American tour, and even more interestingly, photos of Oasis at their notorious Whiskey A Go-Go gig in 1994. The photos themselves shortly followed. They were genuine and also really good. Now, of course, any members of the band will probably remember her and probably know who she is, but for the rest of you, she's just going to be the mystery girl. She agreed for me to have her words represented by an AI voice, so I'm going to show you bits of my part of the interview and her parts will be read back by computer. And over the top of her stories of meeting Noel Gallagher and spending time hanging out with him and the band in America, all throughout the video I'll be showing on screen the photographs, most of which have literally only just been developed. Taken 30 years ago or more, these are new pieces of Oasis history, and so today I'm very happy to be able to share them with you. On now to the chat. So yeah, I guess today really, I'm just curious to know what you have that you'd like to share, really.
It's really funny how I actually met Noel. I'll start at the beginning. In I think February 1991, I met a group of people who were going to San Diego to the Inspiral Carpets concert. They invited me and so I went. They met the Carpets in San Diego and then told them they were coming up to see them at the Palace in Hollywood the next night as well. The Palace venue is called the Avalon now, so I just tagged along. It was the gig on the 22nd of February, 1991. My friends didn't have tickets. I didn't have tickets either. But someone managed to get us tickets. That someone turned out to be Noel Gallagher. As the gig was starting, everybody got in except for me because I was 15 and the venue was for 16 and over. I was turning 16 in a few days. So I told the others to just go ahead, and I waited out front, sitting around. And out walks Noel. At the time I didn't know anything about him, or who he was. He said, "I thought I got you tickets." And I said, "Yeah, you did." I was right out front, he was sitting in the tour bus, and we were just talking from there. And I explained to him that I was not old enough to get in. He started laughing, then he goes, "Okay, come on." And he actually snuck me around the back and brought me into the concert because he didn't want me waiting out front by myself.
That's probably the safe thing to do, isn't it?
It is. And that's how we became friends. He was working, obviously, and then after the show, everyone came out and we all stood out in front of the venue hanging out. And I sent you some of the pictures. There's one of Noel in front of the bus, and also one with Martin Walsh from the Inspiral Carpets. So I met Noel, and we exchanged information. The blue note in Noel's handwriting, that was from when we first met and where he and the Inspiral Carpets were staying. Noel had this little brown book with him, a small pocket book, and he would write everything down in that. So he wrote down his address for me, and I just wrote him a thank you letter, figuring he wouldn't get it for a while because he was on tour. And then I think about a week later I got a postcard from Chicago, and he said a little bird told him that he got mail from me.
This would have been the Burnage address, so he called home a lot, apparently, so Peggy would have told him, a letter just come.
Yes. So then we just started corresponding over the years. He always sent me stuff, so I have a ton of things. I have those mugs that I showed you, the t-shirts that he sent me a ton of Inspiral Carpets music, and then he sent me his demo tape. I listened to that demo tape so much, I made copies for friends and passed it along, and I started to wear it out. So I made a copy for myself as well.
All right, so what's the track listing on it?
It has Color My Life, Take Me, See the Sun, Must Be the Music, Better Let You Know, Snakebite, Life in Vain, which was just titled acoustic on the tape, and I Will Show You, which was called untitled. Noel was very caring. It was like a sibling older brother thing. I don't know why he kept writing, but I think he wrote to a lot of people. It was probably for around a year and a half that we wrote to each other back and forth. Back in the day there was no social media, no phone calls or anything. So when he would come back, I would know what schedule he and the Carpets were on. I saw them again in December 1992. I went to the concert with two guys that I know. Noel and I went and hung out just sitting on the second floor of the Palace, just looking down at the stage. We were just chit-chatting and talking, and I remember that was the time I told him I preferred his voice on the songs he had sent me to Liam's voice. He said at the time, "I don't like my voice that much." And at that time he had cut his hair really short. He was always very kind, very nice and very protective. Also in 1992 he wore a claddagh ring. I asked him what that was and who gave it to him. He said his mom bought one for him and Liam. You can see him wearing that ring in the music video of Don't Look Back in Anger. It was at that show I went backstage, and he introduced me to Ian Astbury of The Cult. He was at the party backstage, which was crowded with a bunch of people. At one point at the party, some old guy started talking to me and being a little inappropriate. At which point Noel came up and goes, "Let's just get you out of here." He kindly turned me around and got me out of there. I was 17 years old at the time.
Yeah, so it sounds like he was just quite protective and kind, and, he wasn't after anything dodgy. He was just being nice.
Yeah, exactly. I saw the Inspiral Carpets 3 times. The first was February 1991. The second time was December 1992, but then the third time they came back in 1993. I went to the concert and Noel wasn't with them.
Yeah, because that's when he was fired, you see, yeah.
I went to the concert, and I ran into Martin from the Inspiral Carpets, and he goes, "I know who you're looking for. He's not here." Martin told me he wasn't with them anymore. I was crushed, and by March of 1993 I had stopped hearing from Noel. From 93 to 94, I really didn't hear much. But that's when I started hearing of Oasis in the music magazines, and I started seeing their faces everywhere. So I was like, oh, no wonder I haven't heard from him. Their first tour here was in 1994. They came down to LA in between the famous San Francisco show and the famous Whiskey A Go-Go show. I just happened to be at home listening to the radio, and I heard them being interviewed in my bedroom, and I was like, wait, he's on the radio? He was on K-Rock, my friends and I knew where it was, so I called the radio station as they were having people call in, and towards the end of it I finally got through. One of the interns answered the phone and I said, "I really need to talk to Noel. I don't want to be on the air, but he knows me." The person on the phone said no, but then all of a sudden in the background, Noel recognized my voice, and he came on the phone and we talked during commercial breaks in the show. He gave me his address where he was staying and said, "I'll meet you at the hotel after the radio show." And so I got dressed, drove across town to the hotel. I was 18 years old at the time. There was this guy I met in the lobby waiting for them as well. It turns out that was Bonehead's brother. He lived nearby in Hollywood, and was also waiting for them to come back from the radio show too. I ended up going with them to the restaurant with them there. We just hung out and like I said, it was very platonic. He was very meticulous in his hotel room. Very clean. He's very intelligent, and he always thinks before he speaks. He doesn't just blurt things out. Even with Liam, there are two sides to both of them. There is the way they are off stage, and there's another side to them when they are the persona out front. We hung out. He asked if I was going to the show, and I said yes, and so he put me and my friends on the guest list for the whiskey show. There is video out there of the show. If you look at the stage, I was on the stage side to the right behind one of the speakers. All you can see in the video is these flashes, and that's me taking pictures.
Oh, you're the photographer. Have you got the pictures?
I do. I have the negatives. I have to go develop these.
If you were happy for me to share some of those photos, if you were to scan them and I could share them with the Oasis community, here are some exclusive stage side shots of Oasis at the Whiskey, taken by the lovely lady who I had a chat with, who has decided to remain anonymous, and I could just share them. I mean, that would be wonderful if you were happy with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. When I get the pictures developed, you'll see Noel smiling, because he knew I was there. He let me stay there and told the stage people to leave me alone, because down the front you could see people pushing and shoving. My experience of the whiskey show wasn't as bad as most people think. Yeah, they got into a fight, but that wasn't anything new. They were just like a regular small band that plays there. They might have some errors here and there, some sound problems, that's common. It wasn't a professional show at a huge stadium. I didn't think it was as bad as people say it was, to be honest. Were they drugged out? Yeah. I honestly think Noel wasn't, though. Noel was okay. But obviously towards the end it got bad, and he stormed off. I didn't see him again on that visit. A year later I went down to the San Diego show. This was January 22nd, 1995, and I got around to the back where the bus was and knocked on the bus. Liam, Tony McCarroll and Gwigsy were there. They invited me in, so I went into the bus. I had some things for them to sign, but Noel wasn't there. And then Liam made a comment. He said, "You're my brother's friend." I said, "Yeah." And Liam said he was talking about you. I hadn't met Liam prior to that, and I have pictures of that as well, in front of the bus.
Oh, that would be so great to share.
I've seen them again since then here and there, but they got so big at one point, so we lost touch. I think it was when he met Meg, around that time. They played the Viper Room in December 1995 in Hollywood. It wasn't an official gig. They had played another gig, and then they came there, and it was a random show that they did, because they were friends with Johnny Depp. My friend and I went to the Viper Room, but again I couldn't get in, because you had to be 21 to get in, and I was still too young. We waited outside, and as I was waiting, Dave Gahan from Depeche Mode walks by. I had told Noel I was a huge Depeche Mode fan. I was completely awestruck, and had a nice 5-minute conversation with him. He then went inside, and as Noel came in he saw me and asked, "Are you coming in?" I said no, same thing again. And then they went in and my friend and I stayed outside for a while, and then when they left they were mobbed. Everyone mobbed them in the car as they left.
That was your last chat with Noel, was he said, "Are you coming in?" And he said, "I can't get in," and then just the crowds separated you and that was it.
He went in with his entourage, and when he came out he did wave bye. But people were swarming the cars and stuff. The other part is the letters. I still have those letters. In one of them he tells me he has just joined a band. They're called Oasis, and my brother Liam is in the band. They're in the attic somewhere in a box. I will scan a couple in for you when I manage to find them. I would say I have 6 to 10 letters, all on Inspiral Carpets cow stationery. And in another letter he explains the songs.
Well, I mean, those ones particularly would be fantastic to see. That would be so great to see. As I've mentioned in the emails, some of those letters, there's certainly collectors in Ireland and the UK who will go, "James, can I have that woman's contact details, please, and bid for that item?" There'll be people who'll be like putting up serious money to own some of those. So
I don't think I could ever sell them.
I mean, if you were happy for us to show them.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But like I said, I have to find them. But they're all in good condition. They are kept in the original envelopes that they came with. He used to write really small, but all capitals. I saw Oasis again in 2000, then Noel when he first started the High Flying Birds. I also saw them a year ago at the Greek, when he played with Garbage.
Have you ever caught his eye? And have you ever clicked and gone, "Hey, I know you," in from the audience ever, or?
No, I was too far away. This year when LA ticket sales went up, I got a code and my husband and I are going to see Oasis at the Rose Bowl this year. I'm going to go and see if I can see him, or to try and catch the band if they show up early. There'll probably be hundreds of people there, but I'll let you know how that goes.
If you could say anything to Noel today, I'm sure he knows who you are. What would you say?
I'd just say well done. I'm so happy for him that he's gotten to be this successful. I met him prior to all of this, and I'm happy for him. I did tell him at the Palace show, "You're going to be big one day." I just have this feeling.
And so, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that little glimpse into the world of Noel Gallagher and Oasis in the first half of the 1990s in California. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know which ones you liked the best in the comments below. Have a really good Christmas, and as always, I'll see you next time.